Nothing more electric than being at a UFC fight. Joining us now is UFC bantamweight champion Ronda Rousey. Her last 4 bouts have lasted a grand total of 130 seconds, a shorter time than it took her to walk out to the ring in her previous fight. She's hit the big screen, is Fortune's 40 under 40, and is empowering women everywhere. Her recent speech about body image was played on stage by Beyonce. And now Ronda, in another undefeated UFC champion fighting out of Poland, the strawweight division, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, I hope I got that right, are making history co-headlining UFC 193 in Melbourne, Australia, November 14th. Ladies, this is such a treat. Thank you so much for being with us. All right, let's put this in perspective. Just a few years ago, Dana White, UFC president, wasn't even sure he wanted to create a women's division. Then November 2012, he signs you, first female UFC fighter. Less than 3 years later, Ronda, you are the biggest draw in the highest paid fighter, not female fighter, fighter. What does that mean to you?
It's really encouraging, you know. It was something I really worried about in the beginning, that it wasn't just to get into the UFC, but it was to get into the UFC and perform. And it was an experiment in the beginning, and I just wanted to do well enough just to hang in there so that I could, you know, I could justify even having a job. And now it's gotten to the point where it's like I thought I was dreaming ridiculously big before, but now we're having to get creative.
It's amazing.
Ronda, I appreciate you being on the show. Thank you and Joanna. Let me say this to you. I love the fact that you're sitting in my chair, because all you did was confirm that that chair is reserved for champions. So thank you for sitting right where you're sitting.
I'm about to steal your mug. I hope you're okay with that.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. But let me ask you this question. I'm wondering how excited you are about still fighting, being the champion that you are. How excited are you about fighting compared to when you first started? I'm really interested in knowing your zest for doing what you're doing, since you're so successful at it and you're making it look so easy.
You know, I get more and more excited for every fight, because there's more on the line for every single fight. You know, I have more to lose every single fight. And it's not about the individual fights anymore. I'm thinking about, like, everything as a whole, and like really having a legacy. And I want to be the one that retires undefeated, and every single one of these matches is just, it's one step along the way. It's not like I have to amp myself up for one person after another. I'm so amped up to really attain this goal that very precious few people have ever been able to get, that, you know, I don't even know why people even ask me, how do you get motivated? I am motivated like I am blonde.
I like that.
So, I like that too.
Yeah. Obviously, you continue to annihilate opponents. Can you describe to us the zone you were in, say, 5 minutes before a fight? Where are you mentally, psychologically? Do you even know where you are, or are you just lost in that zone?
No, mentally, I feel like I'm back where I belong. I know that I deserve to win, and that I'm the best at what I do, and that it just seems like all the time that passed between the last time I fought wasn't even there. Like, every single time I get in there, I'm like, I was just here. That's that feeling that I have, like there was no months in between or training in between. It seems like I was just there yesterday. And I don't know, it just goes back to when I was a little kid. My mom would, she would catch me sitting in front of the score tables and like playing like little hand games with all the kids I was about to fight. And she would grab me and put me in the corner and be like, sit there and think about winning. And she would like purposely get me to like focus and not to be distracted, and like learn how to focus myself before I went out.
So are you way up for a fight, or do you try to gear down and keep your head straight for a fight?
Yeah, I mean, my heart is beating out of his chest. I mean, you're in a crazy situation, but I know that the more stress there is and the more crazy the situation is, the better that I am. So I don't consider it a bad thing. You know, my adrenaline's pumping, and, you know, I'm thinking about a million things. There's so many things going on, but I'm so focused because I'm so sure that that's when I'm at my best.
And speaking of you as a little girl, that fight promo with your sister playing you is fantastic. The UFC
amazing.
Killed it with that. Joanna, I want to focus on you, though. You're on a 10-fight win streak. Absolutely incredible. Talk about being in the zone. I've covered a lot of UFC weigh-ins. Your stare downs, can we see those please, are some of the best in the business. What is going through your head when you get in your opponent's face like that? They're tremendous.
It's just me, you know, emotions, so I'm natural, but it's some story about, you know, I had some fight in Suriname there were some half Dutch, half Suriname girl. So she said live on TV that I'm little girl and she gonna beat me. And so I was like, okay, I'm ready, let's do this. So she was kind of short. So I went down and I bring her eyes higher, and that's why I'm doing this, you know, but it's all me, all emotions, so yeah.
I love it, up in her grill. Stephen A.
No, I'm just, listen, I'm just happy that they're both on the show. I just wondered, I see so many, we make so much of guys where they go into the ring and they're not just about trying to win. In a lot of instances, they're about trying to hurt folks. And I'm wondering for the both of you, is that your attitude? Do you just want to win, or do you find yourself on occasion literally wanting to hurt somebody? Because I know for a fact Ronda came across that way, particularly when she went to Brazil for that fight. You wanted to hurt that lady. You did not want to just beat her. I'm wondering how often, how prevalent that attitude is.
Well, one of my favorite books ever is Ender's Game, and I was reading it when I was in the 7th grade, and I read it like every year for several years. And one of my favorite things in the book was he wasn't a malicious person or anything like that, but in the effort to protect himself, every fight that he got into, he had to win it in such an overwhelming way that he would win all of the future fights. That person would never come back. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do. You know, I'm trying to win in such a big way that person, all of their hope of ever trying to come back ever again is just crushed. And it's better for both of us because, you know, that one fight, it keeps it from going on and on and on. I'm just trying to make it definite and put a stamp on it and be like, okay, this chapter of your life is over, and I'm moving on.
So last time you were here was just before the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight, and you picked Manny to win the fight. You divulged you're obviously friends with him and that camp. How did you see that fight, and would you like to see a rematch?
To be honest, I was supposed to go to that fight in person. And the day before, I got diagnosed with pneumonia. Oh. And so, yeah, I was on all kinds of medication that, like, caused drowsiness. I was trying my best to watch it, and I fell asleep, like, 5 times. I had to, like, keep getting woken up again, and then I would pass back out.
Maybe it was best that you passed out.
I think some other people pass out a little bit,
That's
too.
what I've heard. So I don't know if I would demand a rematch, but, you know, I can't really say firsthand because, you know, I was literally, like, it was the worst, like, the most sick that I could ever remember being.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Look at this, Skip. Joanna, how has Ronda impacted your career, being the first female in the UFC and opening doors for women like you that are now being so dominant in the sport?
I'm very happy that I'm part of UFC, that Dana did this choice to open the bantamweight division, and a few years after he opened the strawweight division. So I wish there are more divisions gonna come, and I'm happy for it. You know, I'm a big fan of Ronda, and I'm happy that I'm gonna fight on the same card.
It's going to be amazing. Thank you guys so much for being here. This is awesome. November 14th, another first, 2 women co-headlining, so it's going to be amazing. Melbourne, Australia. Looking forward to that. And speaking of first, tonight, Ronda Rousey co-hosting SportsCenter.
Yeah.
Amazing. First female athlete guest anchor on SportsCenter. Catch history tonight, 6 p.m. on ESPN. I'll have that DVR'd for sure. Meanwhile, James Harden believes he was the real MVP last year. The guys will tell you if they have a problem with it after the break. Stay here. This is First Take.